you're in the right place. It's the end of the 2025 summer break, and finally, we're getting to race week, baby. But before we get to Zandvoort and the Dutch Grand Prix, let's take a look back at how the season's gone so far. Starting at Albert Park and the Australian GP, conditions variable. It was damp. It was a little misty. Who took pole position at the Australian GP? None other than your main man, Lando Norris. Unfortunately, during the formation, Isaac Hadjar had a spin. He hit the wall on his rookie debut. It hurts to see. Obviously, he's done much better throughout the season. DNFs, multiple. Hadjar, Bortoleto, Doohan, Sainz, Alonso. Nobody got any major time penalties, but it was a very interesting way to start off the 2025 Formula One season. Taking podium for that race was Lando Norris, followed by Max Verstappen and George Russell. That starts the season off with Lando Norris leading the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, we all know that things are going to get spicy when it comes to that. Moving on, the Chinese GP in Shanghai. Taking pole position in the Chinese GP was Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris's McLaren rival and teammate, putting in a 130.641 to get that pole position. We saw some speed and some pace out of the Ferraris, and everything was looking good. Lewis Hamilton's rise to another championship with the red team was finally happening before our eyes until we got to the end of the race. And Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton both got disqualified. Oscar Piastri landing on pole, followed by Lando Norris making it a McLaren 1-2, and Lewis Hamilton's old teammate George Russell bringing in that third spot. And this race shifts the Drivers' Championship a little bit. Now things are starting to get a little bit interesting. Now we're starting to see, is this season going to come down to Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris? Yes, it is. Next, the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. Who had pole there? None other than your world champion, Max Verstappen. Overall, super interesting race, really fun to watch. Your podium for the Suzuka Grand Prix, Max Verstappen coming in first, Oscar Piastri second, and Lando Norris third. Again, this battle is just heating up. Next, we got the Bahrain GP. Who has pole? Oscar Piastri. This was a really interesting race. We had some tight little skirmishes. George Russell managed to slip in there and hold off Lando Norris to get that second position, but your podium for the Bahrain Grand Prix was Oscar Piastri, George Russell, followed by Lando Norris. Saudi Arabia, it's Jeddah, baby. Piastri took pole, Max Verstappen comes in second, Charles Leclerc coming in third, again, giving us a little bit of hope. Maybe Ferrari is gonna do it. Can you tell I'm a Ferrari fan? I am. It hurts. I don't wanna talk about it. This is where Oscar Piastri takes the lead. Oh, it's starting to get interesting. Everybody's starting to pay a little more attention to what's happening over at the Papaya camp. That brings us to the Miami GP. Who took pole? None other than your main man, Max Verstappen. Again, world champions do world champion stuff. And in the first lap, Kimi Antonelli had a really good run. He almost got Max, but again, he's a world champion. He's not gonna flinch. He's not gonna blink. Although Max held his own for most of the race, he did not even make the podium. It was Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and George Russell bringing in the top three. Let's move on. Imola! Oscar Piastri put it on pole. The opening lap, Verstappen took that pole away from him almost immediately. Imola was Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, followed by Oscar Piastri, still leaving Oscar with a slim lead in the Drivers' Championship. Next, it's Monaco, baby. The Monaco GP is a classic street track. The tension is there. Lando, Oscar, we're doing it. This is the battle this season. Let's do it right in Monaco because you gotta. The podium for the Monaco Grand Prix, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and Oscar Piastri. This fight is getting good, people. Next up, the Spanish GP in Barcelona. Oscar Piastri put it on the pole with a 1:11.546. Antonelli retired with an engine failure. Max Verstappen was given a 10-second penalty after a collision with George Russell, dropping him from P5 to P10. Max does not like that. That is not lovely. Wrapping up the Spanish GP, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc. The battle continues. The papaya punches are being thrown. Then we get to the Canadian GP in Montreal. Who puts it on pole? But none other than your main man, George Russell. Let's just get that for a second. Norris and Piastri collided late in the race. Norris had a DNF. He was penalized post-race. This is one of the rare races where there wasn't a McLaren on the podium. First, we got George Russell, Max Verstappen, followed by Kimi Antonelli. That rookie has something going. The Austrian GP. It was hot, it was dry, high tire degradation. Of course, a McLaren's on pole. Lando Norris put his car number one for this race, even though he's got something good going on. Kimi Antonelli had quite a mistake taking out both himself and Max Verstappen on lap 1, so that wasn't cool. The podium for the Austrian Grand Prix was Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and Charles Leclerc. Norris closes the gap a little bit on Piastri in the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, McLaren is almost just clear and running away with the Constructors at this point. Next was the British Grand Prix, the home of Lewis Hamilton, the place where him and the Ferrari could finally come together to do what they had set out to do at the beginning of this season, which was just, win? I don't know, maybe. Didn't go that way though. Who put it on pole? None other than Max Verstappen in that Red Bull. The conditions were wet, dry, then wet, and then who knows what it was gonna be. All this was supposed to play into Lewis's favor because these are the conditions that he thrives under. This is a track that he dominates at, and still he couldn't even make the podium. But not all was lost, because on this glorious, glorious day, a man by the name of Nico Hülkenberg finally made his first steps onto that third place podium. Nico, good job, dude. Your whole career, you haven't gotten there, and this one race, being chased by the greatest to ever do it, you held him off, and you did what you needed to do to get it done. Kudos to you, my man. Congratulations. All around. We don't even need to talk about Norris, Piastri, and Hülkenberg. This was the Hulk show. Next up was Spa. What a race to be excited for. The battle with McLaren is going on. Ferrari's still trying to figure out what they got going on. Mercedes, Red Bull, no one knows. Can anyone catch these McLarens? A rain delay. Once we got started, Lando Norris was on pole, but he couldn't keep it. His teammate Oscar Piastri did it the old-fashioned way, like a real race car driver does, and he passed him on track to take pole. So we had a McLaren 1-2 with Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, followed by Charles Leclerc. That guy is driving that Ferrari. I don't know why they can't get it right for Lewis Hamilton. Oh yeah, that's right, they also can't really get it right for Charles Leclerc. Finally, just before we went to the summer break, we had the Hungarian GP at the Hungaroring. It was hot, it was dry, there was heavy traffic management for the entire weekend. But it did show a little bit of promise because we have been hearing all sorts of noise about the rear suspension of the Ferraris. And what does Charles Leclerc come out and do? He says, yeah, we know how to make a car. I know how to drive one. I'm gonna put it on pole. That did not last. Ferrari really dropped the ball. Lewis Hamilton was nowhere. Charles Leclerc could have had a race win if the car could be driven the way in which it was supposed to be driven, but they couldn't, and he lost out on making it to the podium at all. That was Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and George Russell. Lando, yeah, he got that one, but Oscar still holds a championship lead. Next up is the Dutch Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris still in a battle for the Drivers' Championship. McLaren is far and away leading the Constructors' Championship. Let's see if Red Bull can get the car in a good window for Max Verstappen. We can't forget about Ferrari and Mercedes. George Russell is having a great season so far. He's doing a pretty good job. So there's a lot to look forward to. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.